Not only that, when you look at his record, he's got a record that starts in 1998, 1999, 2000, 2002, 2004, 2006, 2007, 2008, 2009, 2010, and then he has the charge that we have here. I defy anybody to convince me that this defendant has a history of obeying the law. He has just the opposite. Nowhere in this case, from beginning to end, have I ever sensed that Mr. Welling has admitted any responsibility for his misconduct. In fact, what all of you didn't see is something that I saw a few minutes ago during the sentencing hearing in this case. I can't remember the exact point. In fact, I'm not even sure the attorneys know this. But as some people who were here may have seen, I was looking over at Mr. Welling while I heard evidence and I saw what was going on. There was a moment when I detected what I'll call a smirk on Mr. Welling's face. And Mr. Welling, I'm right here looking at you, and you know exactly what I saw. I must comment on something I heard today for the very first time. That appalled me to no end. And you all heard it too. David Glesner was on the stand. He talked about an interview that he had with Leroy Daniels on July 18th of 2012, as I recall. What I heard Detective Glesner tell me was that while this defendant was killing her husband, he was talking to her, using foul language, and said something like, "Can you hear it? Can you feel it? Jesus is coming." It's stunning. And it shows me, in my opinion, the soul of Mr. Welling. Now, is it true that Mr. Welling had done some good in his life? Absolutely. I'm aware of that. Apparently he's a very intelligent person. He did well in school. And he helped other people. I read letters from people who said he helped. There's a side of Mr. Welling that he didn't show to everybody else, that we all saw. And I have to take strong notice of in making a decision on what to do in this case. Do I have the obligation to consider restorative justice to see if there's a possibility to do something that would help Mr. Welling be an outstanding citizen again? I always have to do that in every case. But I also have the obligation to be realistic about the circumstances that present to me. And what I find in this case, and frankly, I searched and I searched and I searched and I searched for it. I find no such redeeming qualities in Mr. Welling as I listen to the testimony and what I hear and what I'm aware of in this case. Frankly, Mr. Welling, you scared the bejeebies out of me. I would imagine you scared the bejeebies out of every person who's a sensible person that's living on the face of this earth. I concur with the state's recommendation. The only appropriate sentence in this case, in my opinion, is a sentence of 60 years in the Illinois Department of Corrections on the count 1 murder charge, is released to be followed, if that ever occurs, by a period of 3 years mandatory supervised release. That sentence will be served at 100%, day for day, will not be allowed. Upon completion of that sentence, should that happen, the defendant will begin serving a term of 30 years in the Department of Corrections for the Class X felony of home invasion. Because of the great bodily harm that was caused, he will serve that at 85% of the sentence. And again, should he be released from the department, if the facts allow that, he must serve a period of 3 years mandatory supervised release. As Mr. B indicated, and as no one argues, the law requires that sentence to be served consecutive to the sentence for murder in this case.